Whoops, I was muted. There we go. All right, folks, we're back. And yes, I am fully aware some of you are going to disperse and scatter because it is the ZvZ, but we've actually got quite a few people tuning in today. So thank you for joining us for this week's Corsair Cup. This is the second semifinal. The winner of this will fight against Elaser in the grand finals. And kicking off this cast in the bottom right, it's going to be none other than Team Liquid's very own Red Zerg player, Snute.
And top left is the blue Zerg. He is Bly.
Fixing that camera rotation once again. Okay, so again, just kind of quick recap here. Snute, I think he's really good at ZvZ generally speaking, and I would actually favor him over Bly. Bly, however, is not the same cheesy early pool and all-in kid that he used to be. And in fact, I would say Bly's playstyle, just like his face, has matured and become quite beautiful over time.
What a beautiful way to put it.
Tell me that's not wrong, though.
Oh, you're right. But I would still put, you know, big old piece of cheese somewhere in that equation. I was like trying to think of like where, but I was like, there's no good place to put it. You don't put it on the face.
You know what it is? No, here's that is. Bly's like that guy. He's got a six-pack. He's got the bod going for him, but he's still got like baby fat in his face. And that baby fat comes from eating all that cheese. No, he doesn't. He's actually fucking fantastic.
Say,
but
like, as someone who knows him, I think of just like a you boo boo, but you know.
That was the best description I've ever heard of another human being. Anyways, my point though stands where Bly is so much better than what he used to be. We've been seeing actually quite a few games where he'll take this further than early pools, lings, roach all-ins. Like he's fully capable of playing the late game Hive, Ultra versus Ultra style, just as much as with your cheese comment. He's willing to do early pools. So Snute's got to be the one on guard in the series, I feel, not the other way around.
I really do like Bly's macro games. Because it's never really truly macro. I mean, I like Snute's macro games because he'll look perfect, and it's like mind-boggling how perfect his opener and his mid games are. But Bly, I just like watching his aggression and his attempt to control the game. Well, unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't happen.
I bring this up because what we were talking about earlier with co-op. Bly reminds me of the type of guy who would actually be really good at co-op, because I feel like we've actually seen him do some weird and more creative out there things, like using spine crawlers to block out ultras and things like that. Not that that's like, oh my god, so innovative, no one's ever thought of it before. But he is really the guy to go and do that extra little thing that seems to give him a bit of extra kick. And sometimes it works out well and sometimes it doesn't. But the point is, he's willing to do whatever it takes.
It really is, though, that, like, again, love the guy and he's a great player. But you will see that, like, in his attempt to 2-base muta harass, it might be going very, very well. But he will start banking, like, 800 minerals, and they can be very detrimental. So certainly he has strengths and weaknesses, and so does Snute. I mean,
what you're saying is he's garbage.
He's absolutely garbage. I don't even know. I don't even do that. No, but Snute, has different weaknesses and different strengths, and it's always fun to see them two collide together. Now we're hyping up a lot about them, but in this game we just have 3-base versus 3-base. Only just now making those lings to try and attack into each other's bases. Bly committing a lot more initially, but both of them get supply blocks, so I guess we won't know what Snute was going to do. Snute, by the way, just completely off of gas for quite a while. Finally put some drones back in the gas, whereas Bly was going to go for an earlier layer anyways.
Well, part of that was Snute also invested in the spine crawl. He really had to make up for that mineral cost. So pulling off gas actually might not be a bad way to do that, but concern is he didn't spend a lot making drones. In fact, he's only got the one on the way. And he's really got to stop these links from Bly.
He did make enough, so it's not going to be too bad. I mean, Bly ends up trading out poorly. It's a little bit suspicious, but I guess he just wanted to buy the time anyways. He has a layer almost done, so I'm guessing it's going to be from mutas. Although he could slap the Roach down like right now, and it's a little okay, I guess. But he's down a little bit in that ling supply, and Snute is attempting to counterattack, just poking and prodding, seeing what he can do, and he's seeing no lings so far. There finally a couple come out.
Well, there might not have been much ling supply, but he's had a pretty nice worker lead for a fair amount of time now, in fact, since only just caught up.
Yeah, that ebb and flow of ZvZ. Definitely true here. As Snute piles on the aggression, he also gets a lot more drones and is actually going to be... Nope, still even. Just kidding. Still even on the drones. But Bly went for a Spire, and this is something that Snute has not been able to scout because he went directly to the third base, which is probably the most vulnerable point most of the time. And that might be a very big surprise. He hasn't seen the natural to see the lack of a Roach Warren or an Evolution Chamber. All he's seen is Lings, and he's already made quite a few Lings himself. And he's also going Roaches. He might be completely surprised by the Spire.
Well, if Bly gets away with it, it might favor him. The problem is, though, while mutas are objectively the better units, they're not always the better units at hand. I think we've seen our fair share of games end because they just couldn't kill the roaches in time, and they spread out and kill the drones, kill the bases. They do too much damage before they finally get cleaned up. And that's maybe something I'm a little bit worried happening here for Bly, but Snute, not gonna have that opportunity.
Snute's doing a pretty good job with these Lings. Yeah, the timing's off for the roaches.
I think that's one of the things, though. He never did get to the main. He hasn't confirmed layer timing. He hasn't seen that Spire, and he's still droning. This is going to hurt him a lot. He's going for a Nidus Worm, so... Ooh.
Ah, okay.
Well, my concern still lays in that he's gone so heavy in drones. Like, his economy 5 minutes from now will absolutely blow Bly away. But up until that point, like, anything he throws at Bly's just going to kill with mutas.
Well, the Queens will be coming with, and it may even have +1, everything said and done.
How many Queens? Yeah, he's only got 3. So, I mean, the Queens, even with 3 more on the way coming with, might not be that big of a deal.
Yeah, we'll see what it ends up being like. I mean, you know, Snute also has to get vision in the main base, and the mutas are about to clean up the one Overseer. No, just kidding.
Psych. They're going straight for the kills.
Right past.
Well, you know, he'll find the Nidus Worm in this side. If you kill this one, there's nothing to jump into to come out the other side.
But I think there's enough Queens. Okay, so the Scout's really important. Now he can move his army back to the main base. But with 3 more Queens on the way, okay, he's not microing the Queens. And the Queens coming out one at a time. Now we're getting out here.
Bly's also not microing his mutas, which I'm a little worried about. Like, he's shift-clicked, but he hasn't actually done much with them. He didn't have to lose, like, almost any of these to the Queens, I feel. But Snute evacuates and says, screw it, I can see that you've clearly got us surrounded. So he's going to abandon ship, and the Nidus Worm's just not going to cut it.
Yeah, that was... surprising. That was like 6 mutas. Okay, this whole position though. That was 6 mutas that took out 5 queens? 4 queens? Because they came out one at a time. They were focus firing, to Snute's credit. Like, there was some micro there, but they're coming in one at a time, being pulled from all directions. So, had to temporarily give up on his Nidus Worm plan. He has 3 more queens on the way, but it's still already surrounded. He doesn't have any transfuses.
Bly's had some really sick vision to see this coming. He does get the strand on the Nidus Worm. No transfuse is going to go off. This works badly for Snute, and he loses the Overseer, so there's no more Nidus Worm spots to really come down. Only down here.
And this really interrupts the flow of the non-muta player, right? Like, if he didn't go for the Nidus Worm, there would have been a Hydralisk then, an Infestation Pit, you know, the Queens would be alive to protect his drone line. Instead, after spending money on 2 Nidus Worms and replacing Queens, they don't have transfuses. It's going to be a tough uphill climb, tougher than usual against mutas. And that's what the micro I was talking about, by the way. I thought he was going to Queen micro with the Nidus Worm. He didn't at first, but now he is. But Queens go down. There's a lot of mutas now.
Speaking about Spore Crawlers, I guess that nerf sucks. Lol. Spore Crawler damage used to be so scary. Now mutas don't even care.
I mean, it's still pretty scary. It killed 1 muta.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the thing is, regardless of how bad this may have gone for Snute in terms of his attack and money spent, he's had so many extra drones over Bly that he's had that money to spend. The thing is, though, as you pointed out, like if this had been a Hydralisk den or anything else, Snute would probably be really far ahead right now and in a very good spot. Unfortunately, though, he's kind of cutting it even because of that worker lead he afforded himself was kind of nullified by how easily Bly cleaned up the attacks.
Yeah. He would have had this worker lead as well as one for periods of time because of the Ling attacks he was doing, plus a very good army. And now it's a little less good. Still not a terrible position, of course, and he even managed to fit in a 4th, which I really didn't think was going to happen with the mutas attacking like they did, but they were focusing on the Queens instead of the building 4th, and a Spore Crawler could have moved over there, actually gets caught. The Hydras aren't out quite yet. It could still go down to the Lings. Looks like that's exactly what's going to happen.
There's too many transfusions, too many Queens. I mean, the mutas will die eventually if they fight through all of this, but there's no reason to dedicate and fight through all of this, not through the Hydras, not through the Queens, and especially not through that Spore Crawler. Meanwhile, Bly does kill the 4th base with Lings while this goes on. Really nice snipe out of him. Oh, but my concern is...
point in time. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Bly's continuing to go mutas, and while Hydras and Queens have proven to be annoying, these infestors could end the game.
Yeah.
Bly
I was
has
gonna bring up
everything
obviously.
invested in this. Ugh.
Obviously, mass muta. So many mutas, and
Yeah.
even an upgrade on them. I don't know. It's light to infestors.
I mean,
that
all
Ling
he
the main
needs though is
naturals?
one fungal. There's enough Hydras that they don't really care about the mutas. But they do get
there's
picked
no
off.
infestors.
Yo, these Lings are seriously MVP status right now. Kills the Infestor over here as well. Bly's got nothing to fear, and he might just be running away with the game now. The Lings are gone, but they did their job, and they killed the Infestor.
Yeah, 19 drones is really good as well. The Queens are going down as they didn't have a lot of transfuses, and the Hydras aren't coming to defend.
Oh my god, Bly's making
They're
this
trying to
work.
attack.
This has been so
Yeah.
crazy to consider, too, because behind all this, he's been slowly transitioning into Roaches. He's been taking fights above Spore Crawlers. There's so many other Zerg players, and in fact, I would imagine Bly's even thinking to himself, too, like, why am I not dead? Why do these fights go so well for me? Like, he really, all things considered, fighting above Spores, Queens, and Hydras shouldn't have been able to get the damage done that he did. So kudos to him. Nidus Worm on the other side of the map, as Snute pushes out for what is possibly his last attack this game. If this gets crushed, Bly will be too far ahead. GG!
Nicely done.
Okay, so Bly takes game number 1 in the ZvZ. That's I don't know, that was really interesting because that wasn't like early, like that wasn't like super ridiculous fast bailing speed or ling speed or early pools. Like that's just Mutus getting really out of hand.
Yeah. It was... I mean, that Nidus Swarm failing like it was the most awkward game. Because I wouldn't say anything he did was really bad. I mean, Sue did everything that you could expect against a Muta player, trying to do the Nidus Swarm. Plenty of people do it, and it works really well. Hydra Infestor, obviously, good against Mutas. It's just that everything he ever did was awkward. His defenses with the Queens, one at a time, they die. Trying to use them on a Nidus Swarm, they don't have transfuses, they die.
Yeah.
Nidus Swarm is scouted at the third. If it was in the main base, the thing would not have been scouted. It dies. So...
So I've just got a message from an NA player, Game Time, who actually we ended up falling in love with his cool series versus Euthermal at DreamHack Austin. Just contacted me about the Gameland Invitational qualifiers versus WCS qualifiers, and we've talked about this internally to death. So I'm just going to put this out publicly here, and hopefully if it's short enough, somebody can clip this so we can use this to paste to people. But here's the TLDR. Yes, I know WCS qualifiers are happening after the Gameland Invitational qualifiers, and we fully expect anyone who qualifies through the Gameland Invitational qualifiers to drop that and play in WCS. There'll be no punishment for this as long as we all sort this stuff out ahead of time, and it's not like oh yeah, by the way, I know it's in a week, but I'm also going to WCS. Fuck you guys. Like, we have to play these out at certain times because that's when the sponsors have requested it of us. So the Invitational and the qualifiers obviously would be amazing if we could push those off until after WCS, but time will not permit it. So again, for any pros that are looking to play, I really suggest you just play. And if you have to drop out because you lucked out or skillfully won a WCS bracket, then take that WCS trip. But only 4 people total can go to WCS from NA, unless they're going to go fly out to Yongkaping on their own. And I think there's a lot more players who are just not even going to try. They're not even looking for the opportunity. They're just, screw it. Like, I know I'm not going to make it, so let's play this qualifier instead for the Dream, whatever the fuck it's called, thing. Gameland. There you go.
Dreamland. It's Kirby.
God, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't sound right. But yeah, so I'll be replying and updating the thread to make sure people are aware of that. But just to publicly state it now for the thousands of people tuning in, hopefully some of you can spread the word or help us spread the word. Anyways, we are getting into game number 2. It is still a best of 3. The winner of this goes on to fight against a laser in the best of 5 grand finish. In the top left, he's on his last life for the tournament. It's the red Zerg player, Team Liquid Snute. He's, thank God he's getting a pool.
Yeah, he's not too greedy. In the bottom right is the blue Zerg. It is Bly. So the dynamics here with the openers is kind of interesting. Stu went for a hatch first, but then immediately with a pool, where you can in other builds lay it even like a good number of drones, at least 2, maybe even more if you get the gas before pool as well. I think that's the greediest you can be, is like hatch drones, gas drone, pool, something like that. But no, this was actually quite quick, so this might just be in time, especially with a drone pool. to handle his hatchery, because that's really what this build for Bly is all about. It's not with a gas, so he's really looking to kill the hatchery. To try and do anything in the main base is just really way too risky. You know, the drones get us around on 6 lings, and they might still do okay after all. So you just try and get the hatchery killed. But Snute isn't reading this as in a gasless. He's actually building spine crawlers that won't be necessary.
And he's pulling the drones. He really wants to keep this hatchery alive.
Yeah, I think that he has to, I think. Once he realizes that it's gasless, you know, he's going to be like, okay, I need to keep this hatchery alive. And he will. Without losing too many drones. Oh, nope. As I say it, 3 more just instantly get sniped.
Still, though, that brings it down to even worker count with the hatchery living possibly through this. That will give Snute a bit of an edge, but he's been not mining for so long, and more drones getting picked off. Where are those spine crawlers? Got to bring them down to that low ground before this gets too out of hand. I still think he can save the hatchery, though, if he's fancy with this.
If he loses drones, spine crawlers made, and he loses a hatchery,
oh god,
that's game.
Well, he's down on 8 workers. This still might just be game, yeah.
Yeah, I really thought he was gonna have a better time holding that, but I guess the lateness of the queens and the spine crawler. I think in an ideal world he doesn't even need spine crawlers. At the very least, he only needs 1. But and it is what it is. He spent a lot defending and didn't even defend that well. So this is quite problematic. He does know that the speed won't be on the way, so I guess he feels comfortable doing this. Spine crawlers are even coming forward, so I guess this is an all-in. All right, then.
You know what? Hear me out. This is so dumb. But if he's got at least 1 transfuse per queen, and he uses those on the spine crawlers, those might just be a little bit much. You got to consider Bly isn't making any links right now. He cut to continue making drones and extend his lead, and I think that was a really smart move. But I think what Snute's doing now, because he had killed that first Overlord before it saw the spines, Blind had no indication. He only just now realizes, crap, but look at this, there's like no larva to really work with.
Yeah, he did already spend his larva.
He goes for the wall off. Oh, this
go.
is a super sick move, but Snute could put a creep tumor down here, spine crawlers over here, and still snipe off this wall. I don't know, this is crazy.
Killing his own creep. I don't know if that's the wall or just to decrease the creep that's available.
I think this is smart. He kills the creep tumor on this side as well to make sure there's less area that those creep tumors can go down. Oh, Bly. Not a lot of people would think about this. What a smart guy.
That is very cool. Very cool. Would have been a lot more difficult to pull this off on bigger ramps. You know, we would need like 4 evolution chambers.
I was gonna say, I don't know if that tumor's in range for the queens to snipe, but that'd be horrible.
It looks like it is, but I guess it's not. I think he would be focus firing it. Of
I
course, transfuses are ready.
don't think time's on his side. Snute would have to go around north side and get around the spine crawlers before they finish up, because defensively, Bly's going to have not just more spines, but they're going to be in position. Like, Snute will have to actually uproot and move into them to get positioning here. I think Bly's got this. This was a really cool move out of Snute. But if that Overlord, like I want to point out, this Overlord's the MVP. If this Overlord didn't see this coming, I think Bly loses. So G frickin' G. Bly will take a 2-0, move on to the finals.
What an amazing ZvZ.
That was such a cool response out of Snute, though. There's like, he was in such a I automatically lose position, yet he found a way, a small ray of hope that may have actually won him the game.
Yeah, imagine if that Overlord didn't go where it did.
Right? That's what I'm saying. That thing,
right where the illusion chambers are.
That Overlord was the fucking MVP, whether he realizes it or not. Like,
pretty cool. Very short too.
Well, as short as it may have been, we're still going to try and squeeze in a commercial break. It's been about 20 minutes, so thank you guys for watching. We are not done with the cast. We have a best of 5 grand finals coming up, a Laser versus Bly. Yes, it's a ZvZ, but it should be interesting. We'll see you guys soon.